to me very easy, but gosh, I gotta say, and this is more meaningful to me now because, yeah, as a CEO, I do set the tone for how our culture or how I envision our culture to be, right? So I can work with my execs and VPs and the board to say, I want Gapify as a culture to be mindful of innovation solutions that can help grow our business. That same level of expression and thinking can be applied within teams itself, right? So if you're in accounting, let me tell you about the culture in accounting. And Michael, as I say this, I may have a frustrated look on my face, but it is absolutely so true. So when I geek out, and I have a lot of friends in the network who are accountants, and I think naturally when you're in the industry for so long, my best buddies, I've got like 100 friends on Facebook that are all in the accounting profession. When we hang out, the culture is your month end close done? Is your last month end close done yet? Or how did the last audit go? Or how did your last month end close go? I actually had a dinner last night with a chief accounting officer who is now my friend, a pre-IPO company, I should say. And before we started talking about the Knicks, the Warriors, in this case, he's a Longhorn fan. We talked about clothes. So, and that's kind of our culture. So, and I'll talk about like why that's important to change through tips like these. So our brain space is taken up by just this idea that we do close, we do close, we do close. It's hard for us to break away from it and allow ourselves to explore technology that we should be exploring to automate our environments. So I think this is an effective way to break through that, right? Like, why not, as an accounting leader, or if you're in FP&A or finance systems or IT, please maybe promote and start this yourself. Put a meeting on the calendar, monthly meeting. It won't hurt. It's an hour, but call it an innovation meeting. And what you want to do is just promote a new cadence where you're talking about and exploring and keeping up to speed with new technology that's out there. It does not take much effort. Go to calendars, Google Calendars, Microsoft Calendars. If you have Lotus, go to add a monthly recurring meeting and get your teams together. And I listed some of the agenda items that you can include here. One is, I think it is a great idea to talk about all your automation projects at this particular meeting, because what you want to be able to promote is, if the AR team, for example, I know Sleagle has an amazing cash management and cash application solution. But if an AR team is adopting that and they're seeing success, if they're seeing that DSO is improved by 50%, hearing that and socializing that may prompt AP to want to be inspired to take change as well. So maybe they go after that expense report solution that they've been lagging on, because yes, I get it. Like we're so inundated with manual work, and month end close is important. But being able to socialize progress and updates between different groups, I think inspires a culture where people are thinking about how to improve their day to day. And again, this is just getting people together. Yes, I also know that historically in accounting, it was kind of, and I don't know if this is the case today, Michael, because I've been out of the industry for a few years now, but there was definitely a time, actually most of my career, I would say, where putting together a meeting to talk about innovation was like taboo, because you just wanted to put meetings together that actually resulted in tangible output. But in this day and age, and again, with the next generation of accounts, this is important. This is a morale way to improve morale. And just being able to talk about some of the trends in the market, especially with AI, ChatGPT. There's so much to talk about, and inspiring people to think forward and think in an innovative way can result in pretty good
interesting, Joachim. I'm wondering if there's, I saw a stat from Gartner where it's like 50, technology projects implemented. It's 50-50 between IT and finance and accounting that are actually working together. Depending on who's leading it. Sometimes it could be IT, sometimes it can be finance and accounting. I'm just wondering, is there a good way to integrate those cultures, right? To bring in IT in accounting and finance together in a sort of a tiger team fashion in order to create a more innovative culture and get more conversation started, right? Because I can imagine maybe a bunch of, finance and accounting people maybe kind of sitting around, as you say, their first thing is, financial close, or how quickly did you close and stuff like that. So bringing IT in for a more innovation discussion could be another option.
Yeah, or even IT leading it. And to the extent that IT can, and I know IT is also busy supporting other business functions, they do hold the credibility of understanding what the latest and greatest is and technology, right? That's her profession. That's her job. Our job in accounting is to stay up to speed with US GAAP, IFRS. So, in cases where you do have two groups that can coordinate and collaborate with each other to figure out what's best, to the extent that IT has capacity, I think them leading the charge and making it easier and kind of pulling like accountants to those meetings, I think is a good setup. But every organization is different. And, in some cases we have I actually spoke to a chief accounting officer of a public company, 5,000 employees. He is messing around with ChatGPT right now and is kind of taking the charge. And it's really, refreshing to see. So I guess my point in that is, it can work in many different ways, but
Yeah.
I do like the idea of IT spearheading and finance system spearheading. Because as we know, it's not easy to get these accountants into the room and carve out the time to talk about technology investments.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll make one last point because I have heard success from these ideas. And the last icon to the right here, making it fun and creative. I recently spoke to the chief innovation officer for a publicly traded, very old school, very old insurance company. And so my expectation was, for her to share that they've tried the Shark Tank idea and that it didn't resonate at all and it failed because it's an older insurance company and they weren't ready for all this innovation, but it was the complete opposite. Participation was high and actually helped promote more energy into identifying new tech investments. So don't sleep on it. I know some of my old school buddies in the accounting space, they'll say, okay, if it's not a meeting to talk about month end close, we don't have time for it. But gosh, I mean, the success that I've seen and heard about, where you do some kind of gamification of like promoting technology in your culture and accounting is quite effective. And you know what? There's nothing to lose, right? Like, why not try just, with each functional area, AP, AR, GL, payroll, have someone pitch an idea to upgrade their tech stack. And maybe it's bragging rights, maybe it's a trophy, but I think it's a good way to instill this culture in organizations. And I think if you can wrap all that up in the confines of one monthly meeting, that's a good start. And I really was excited to share this for this webinar because to me, it's low lift. Just get it going, get it started. And then the last thing here, and I'll explain. So yes, I understand there's definitely a best practice approach to evaluating solutions. So yes, I have done gap fit analysis. Yes, I've engaged the Big Four to help with software evaluation. And yes, I get that some of these investments are multi-million-dollar investments. But given the state of where our profession is today, I think just empowering anyone from the accounting team to do a quick tech pitch, not only helps promote the culture where people are speaking up and figuring out how to do their jobs better, but it's actually a retention. There's a retention play in it as well, right? So the number one reason that people come to me, so I have a lot of folks, Michael, that come to me to see if there are new opportunities within Gapify. These are accountants who no longer want to do accounting, but want to stay in the industry. So we're a accounting software company. They don't want to do our month-end close, but they want to be in product or sales and so on. But the number one reason why they want to leave is they're tired of this cycle of just one month-end close to another. So again, you're trying to break that cycle. And one good way is, why don't you let them loose and let them pitch, technology investments. And yeah, it could be informal. So this is like my quick tip here. Like, let them do an informal pitch to your management team just to raise their hands and say, hey, I want to invest in this new PO system. Yes, we have them do a little bit of homework, but lay out steps. And it doesn't necessarily have to lead in, oh yeah, here's my credit card, Mr. or Miss CFO, go ahead and buy it. But if you give your team an opportunity to say, hey, this is what I would like to do, it really it empowers them to make change. And I'm going to have to steal the line. I didn't think about this, but I think it's worth mentioning. So one of my consulting clients back in the day is Atlassian. I think folks are familiar with them. They're the creators of Jira. One of their core values is be the change you seek. And that just, still to this day resonates very strongly with me. And if you equip your team, accounting team, who are maybe gun shy about pitching new ideas to improve their tech stacks, if you give them a template, and this is what the outline on the right-hand side is designed to do. If you give them a template that they can use to just spend 15 minutes with the controller and say, hey, this is what I have in mind. This is my ask. Please invest in a commission software because we're growing 50% every year. And what this can do is help process commission calculations quickly, record them accurately. That first slide, just really teeing it up, making it very easy for controllers, CAOs, CFOs to understand like what the ask is. And then second slide, I mean, this is pretty standard stuff, but I'll just quickly list through it because I think it's worth spending some time on. Challenges and pain points. Why is it important, right? Like, did you get dinged by the auditors? Commission approvals is off. Sales complain about not being able to calculate their MBOs properly. So being able to articulate why it's important obviously is a big part of any kind of pitch. 3 measurable goals. If you're trying to pitch to a CFO, chances are they're going to want some tangible reasons as to why they should allow you to move forward with an evaluation. So having very specific and clear goals is important. Slide 4, just do some initial preliminary work on understanding the different options that are out there. Again, you're not you're not presenting your full-blown vendor evaluation or assessment. You're just getting some initial ideas on paper. And then of course, knowing what kind of timeline to set for a project like this, and just it gives you a good sense of like the level of effort that's required to move forward. And then the last part, and as a CEO who gets pitched to a lot by my VPs and execs on different investments that they want to make, I find it effective when they say, hey, 80% of publicly traded companies have a commission solution. And if I'm seeing that and I'm on the 20%, that gets my attention. So, I know there's a lot of different methodologies out there. Like, don't focus on like these 6 slides and, making sure they're spot on. I just wanted to share some examples of how you can put together a very quick informal pitch together. That way you can just take something to ask someone like, hey, can I pursue and look at this further? This is really just a way to start and empower employees, especially in accounting, to be open and transparent about technology investments that they want to see, because the default method of operations for us accountants is, let's just keep going. Let's let ourselves like float into the month end close. And if you don't give them a quick way to be able to raise your hand, it's hard for them to speak up and be the change that they seek. And so, that takes us to the end. So I'll recap again the 2 tips. Obviously we know why it's important for accounting organizations now to automate. I mean, I think, that was self-evident. I don't think there's any debate these days, as far as the need to automate for accounting organizations. We talked about why it's important, work-life balance, managing retention for accounting organizations, increasing productivity, doing more with less. And then the 2 tips that I shared earlier to help get going along these lines of being an innovative culture. 1, have a meeting, standing meeting, put it on your month-end close checklist, make it real and give it some meat. Secondly, empower your accounting employees to pitch ideas, make it very easy, let them loose, let them go at it. You can curb it down maybe as, if you have every single person in accounting now giving you, 50 quick pitches in a month, maybe you can put more structure around it. But I think given the state of the profession today, you want to swing the door wide open and invite people in. Again, you can scale back over time.